If you're taking antibiotics and you're not doing the stuff that I'm going to talk about in this video, then you are going to make yourself more vulnerable to future infections, skin issues, more inflammation, and gut health issues that can last for months on end. I am currently on a round of aggressive antibiotics because I have pneumonia. Excuse my voice, by the way. And I also have asthma, so the doctors wanted to be really aggressive about it, which is fine by me. But I wanted to say exactly what I'm doing to protect my gut health now, so that way I don't end up paying for this later down the line. So if you've ever taken antibiotics for one thing and then a few weeks or months later you notice that you start getting all of these random infections in random parts of your body, like say you had pneumonia and you did antibiotics and a couple weeks later you end up with a UTI, or a few weeks later you end up with a yeast infection. This is often because of the way the antibiotics have affected your gut health and the whole microbiome system in your body. And this is because antibiotics don't just kill off the bad infectious bacteria that are in there, they will also kill off the good bacteria that are in your body. So it can't tell the difference, and at this point in time, antibiotics can't just target the infectious bacteria. So they'll also wipe out bacteria that are helping your immune system be stronger, or keeping your skin clear, or keeping your inflammation low, or producing a lot of the serotonin that's in your body. And if you feed the wrong bacteria while you're on antibiotics, then that's when you can start to see a lot of problems, and these problems can just keep getting worse and worse. So here is the very simple rule that can change the trajectory of your gut health for the next several months after a round of antibiotics. Fiber feeds the good bacteria and sugar feeds the bad bacteria. And whichever one you feed is the one that will multiply, and it's the one that will kind of take over. So during this time, all that I'm focused on is making sure that I feed the good bacteria and I starve the bad ones. So the first thing I'm doing is making sure not to eat any sugar. It's a 0 sugar time for me right now, because I really want to make sure that any of those bad bacteria that are naturally in my gut, like besides the ones that are causing the infection, I'm talking just like other bad bacteria that could be in there that could potentially cause infections in the future, I want to make sure that I'm not feeding them, right? And what they feed off of is sugar. So luckily, I had already not been eating sugar for a few weeks before this, so I got kind of lucky there. But regardless of that, even if I had been eating sugar, right now it's extra important. So during the round of antibiotics, I'm not eating any sugar. And for about 7 to 10 days after the antibiotics are done, I'm also not going to have any sugar. That way the good bacteria have plenty of time to start to multiply and thrive, much more than any bad bacteria in there, because it takes about 3 days for us to start seeing a shift in gut health when we see people on these diets of no sugar and higher fiber. And then it takes about 7 to 10 days for people to start really feeling the difference. And that's a sign to us that those good bacteria have actually multiplied enough and like kind of taken over. I mean, I see this honestly as an opportunity. Like if I do this right, I might be able to build up my gut health even stronger and even better than it was before this. So I'm going to take that opportunity and try to do that. So what I am going to eat are very simple high fiber meals, or what I have been eating are very simple high fiber meals. So basically for dinners, I have a simple lentil soup with some sauteed veggies. In the mornings, I have a coconut yogurt with a lot of nuts and seeds. And then sometimes I'll have like an egg scramble with vegetables loaded with olive oil on top. Olive oil is really good for feeding your good, healthy gut bacteria. So it's nothing fancy. It's just consistent, healthy meals that are filled with lots of fiber and healthy fats and protein. And just one little caveat about this, I was just talking to my mom about this the other day because myself and her doctor were both telling her to eat more fiber, but she had seen this video on the internet that was saying she should not eat a lot of fiber because people who eat too much fiber see a lot of fermentation in their gut, and this can make them feel more bloated. And so what I would say to that is, yes, that can happen if you overdo it, but it's not a reason to not eat any fiber. I don't think that's a good idea, especially if you're taking antibiotics. You need that fiber there to feed the good bacteria and make sure that they are the ones that take over and not the bad ones. So how I would handle that is I would just, if you're not used to eating a lot of fiber, and when you eat very fibrous meals, if it makes you feel bloated, I would just take it slower. So maybe these meals that I kind of listed out, maybe add in just like one of those per day, or add in just like a little handful of veggies or plant foods at one meal of the day. Do that for like a week, and then add in more, a little bit more at a time. You just kind of do it in baby steps. You need to give your body time to get used to anything new that you're doing, and this is no different. So what I would say to that is keep the fiber, just take it a little slower in a little bit smaller portions if you need to. And by the way, my name is Janelle and my background is in nutrition and dietetics. So that's where all of this is coming from. This is like what my degree is in. This is what I've spent years just researching like crazy and being obsessed with. So that is where this information is coming from. I also wanted to mention some things I'm not stressing about. Like, I'm not stressing about like my daily coffee, especially because it's something that actually just brings me a lot of joy. And it's not something that I feel the need to be super strict about. So I happen to have coffee that doesn't have a lot of sugar in it anyway. If your coffee does have sugar in it, I would maybe consider cutting back during this time. But if not, I would eat it after your breakfast that's filled with fiber and healthy fats and proteins. But in general, coffee is still fine to have. And there are some little things like that that aren't really necessary to stress a lot about. And just a reminder too, that gut health and gut healing doesn't only come from what you feed the bacteria in your gut. That is super important, but your gut bacteria are also affected by a lot of other things actually. So like, for example, they're even affected by your exposure to sunlight. And I know it's become a really popular topic in the last few years of like making sure you get outside first thing in the morning and get some sunlight into your eyes and on your skin. And one thing that affects is the type of bacteria that grow in your gut, which is super interesting. And also things like rest will really help those good bacteria thrive when your body is fighting off an infection. So things like I wouldn't say strict routine, but my routine that I love a lot, my 5 a.m., do boom, 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 this, that every day, and then go drop the kids off and do all this stuff. That has to take a back seat for a few weeks because I need to just get as much sleep as possible and make sure I rest, because if I don't, my stress levels will increase and it will cause more inflammation, and those good bacteria won't have the right environment that they need to thrive in. And then I'll just end up paying for it in more infections down the road anyway. Antibiotics can be life-saving saving. I mean, they literally are for me right now. So I'm so grateful in this moment that they exist and I have access to them. But how you take care of yourself during and after a round of antibiotics can mean all the difference between just like bouncing right back and kind of hopping right back into your routine when you're done being sick and you feel better, versus struggling for months on end dealing with infection after infection and health problem after health problem. Feed the good bacteria, starve the bad ones, and make sure that you are getting plenty of rest in this time when your body really needs it. And if you want more videos like this that are all about gut health and blood sugar and sustainable healing, longevity, all of the things like that, then make sure that you are subscribed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.